What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and recently there has been some really big DC news that's broken out stating that Wonder Woman 3 is now canceled over at DC Studios, and Man of Steel 2 is possibly no longer in the works as well, with the question of whether or not Henry Cavill Superman is truly returning for just more than Black Adam. Now, yesterday, I did a video talking about how this could be a good thing, and I do believe it is a good thing. DC is now in the hands of experienced directors and producers, and most importantly, fans who have superhero movie experience, successful experience. And of course, we're talking about James Gunn and Peter Safran. And what I love about James Gunn, something that he's always done just in general, not just for DC, not just for Marvel, but in general, is that he addresses things on Twitter that come out. If something is wrong, he will call it out and he will state the truth. Not necessarily spoiling anything, but letting you know what's real and what isn't. And he has done that recently in regards to the Wonder Woman 3 and the Man of Steel 2 cancellation news. So let's talk about that today and dissect these tweets and talk about what he meant and how DC really is in great hands right now. And I first want to start with this one tweet because I just really love it. James Gunn tweeted, "As co-chairman and CEO of DC Studios, I vow to the public at large and you, the fans, that I will break off the shackles of our limited imaginations and will abide by no guerrilla limits whatsoever." I love this. It means he's going to do what he thinks is best and what the fans probably think is best for DC, and he's already produced great content for them. He gave us the Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker series, which was amazing. Both were. And he's already stated that he is going to be involved hands-on in each project that comes out. But here's what he had to say about yesterday's report in The Hollywood Reporter. If you didn't read it, basically all you need to know is that they said that sources told them that Patty Jenkins and the other writers met with James Gunn and Peter Safran to talk about the future of Wonder Woman 3 and gave them some of the script in which they told her the project was scrapped. And the reason for that is that it didn't fit into their new plan. Now, recently, James Gunn and Peter Safran went to Colorado for kind of like a little retreat, so both of them could write together the DC Bible. That's what they're calling the roadmap of what is to come for DC, how everything is going to be connected. So they were literally planning out the next 10 years of the DC universe, and apparently Wonder Woman 3, or at least the version of Wonder Woman 3 that they already had done, was not a part of it. The article also said that Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill returning is also unlikely. And everybody was freaking out and was very confused, rightfully so, because Henry Cavill just made his return and just announced that he was back as Superman. We saw him in Black Adam. So everybody's wondering what is really going on. Well, James Gunn took to Twitter and he said this. So, as for the story yesterday in The Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true. Some of it is half true. Some of it is not true, and some of it, we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. So right away, very interesting. Some's true, some's not true, some is undecided. So right now, they're still kind of working on that 10-year plan. We do know that next week, James Gunn and Peter Safran are meeting with the heads of Warner Brothers Discovery. And it seems like this is the time where they're going to sort of finalize the direction that they're going to be taking with the DCU. So some of these things that were mentioned in the article might actually depend on how this meeting is going to go. Now, we'll circle back and talk about what I think is true and not true, but first, let's finish this thread because there are a few more tweets. The next one states, "Although the first month at DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time and we're still just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into a fractious environment, both in the stories being told and in the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, animation, and gaming. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. We know we are not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story, and that is in all caps, story, and in the service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives. And right there, I'll stop real quick and just say that I love that. Because again, James Gunn is a true fan, so is Peter. And having somebody like these two in charge with that passion and that love is great. And that is going to be a key to DC turning around and making a great comeback, which I think we're about to get. But the last tweet of the thread says, "As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer." And to be fair, James Gunn and Peter Safran really did come into a lot. They came into essentially, well, as James Gunn put it, a fractious environment, a universe that was essentially and still is in pieces. Now, The Rock has revealed that DC plans to do phases, much like Marvel Studios has done from here on out, and that Black Adam was the first project of their phase 1. And this is a great idea, and this will help with the cohesiveness and the connectivity of the universe. But real quick, let's go back to that first tweet where James Gunn said, "Some of the story is true, some of it is half true, some of it not at all, and some of it is undecided." Well, the cancellation of Wonder Woman 3, I believe that is most likely true. Let's be honest, Wonder Woman 2 wasn't that good. Wonder Woman, the first one, is one of my favorite movies of all time, but the second one was kind of a flop. If you liked it, good for you, I'm happy, but most people I think thought it wasn't very good. And seeing as how James Gunn is probably going to reboot a lot of the universe, perhaps it's possible that the direction that Wonder Woman was heading in the story of Wonder Woman 3 was just not fitting for their universe, which sounds like is the case. Now, the big question is though, will Wonder Woman be sticking around and will Gal Gadot be playing her? That's something that we might not have an answer to yet. That could be one of the things that James Gunn says that they haven't decided on yet. I personally think that it would be a good idea to keep her as Wonder Woman. I think she does a great job as Wonder Woman if the direction and the script are right, if they're good. But let me know what you think about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Now, the other really big question is Man of Steel 2 and Henry Cavill. Are they sticking around? I think fans really wanted Henry Cavill back as Superman. And The Rock himself and Henry Cavill himself made a pretty big deal about this. Now, granted, this was before James Gunn and Peter Safran were in charge, but like James Gunn said, they're going to do everything they can for the characters and for the fans and the stories. So that leads me to believe, because James Gunn is an incredibly smart man, that Henry Cavill is probably sticking around. However, again, plans that they might have had for Man of Steel 2 might be scrapped because they're most likely tying into the story of the old DCEU, which really wasn't that connected to begin with, but they still did kind of have some stories that fit into others. So he might keep Gal Gadot and he might keep Henry Cavill and just give them completely new stories, because I think fans really do love Gal Gadot and I think they love Henry Cavill, and I think James Gunn sees that. However, I could be completely wrong, and Mr. Gunn, if you're watching this, please feel free to call me out. It would be an honor even if I was wrong. But hey, let me know what you all think about this in the comments down below. What do you think about Wonder Woman 3 being scrapped and the possibility of Man of Steel 2 being scrapped as well? But do you think the characters and their actors, Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill, should be sticking around for the DCU? Let me know your thoughts down below and how excited you are for the rebirth of DC. I personally am really excited to see what James and Peter have in mind for us, the fans that is. I, for one, am really looking forward to it. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest DC news. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.